Welcome back to Digi Bros, everybody.
Naked. Look at that butt, dude.
We just picked
that's
up
a fucking sweet butt right there.
We just picked up the soul of a crestfallen knight.
And then we checked out his sweet ass.
Apparently, the crestfallen knight is in this game.
I guess.
Or
I mean,
it's
that was
usually
him.
called the crestfallen warrior, right?
Didn't I go down there? Why does the lever not work?
You go up.
Do I go
right.
up to the right first?
Yes.
Well, I thought you went down there.
Nope.
No. I thought that was the
not.
other way to get to the other guy.
Whoa, well, there's a guy behind you buffing that dude.
Behind me?
Buffed, yeah, right there.
Oh.
Yeah.
Shazam!
You somehow missed the
Shazam!
giant orange glow.
Yes, I did.
So,
oh no, there's more tough guys.
in
That's
the
right.
time-
There's only one of many tough guy.
in the time since we last played, we both played other video games.
Oh yeah.
Doom
Uh.
and Uncharted 4.
Yes.
So you revolutionized my entire world because
Oh yeah, because of Red Box.
because you rented a video game.
Yes.
And it blew my mind to shit. Because
Which was awesome. Well worth it. Best idea in the world to play Uncharted 4.
yeah, man, cuz I've been like Doom came out, the new Doom, and I watched, like, the first person to put a video out was Noah Caldwell-Gervais. He had like a 22-minute review.
Yes, Ricky Gervais put out his review of Doom.
And I'm watching it, and like within minutes, I'm like sold on this game. I'm like, this game looks fucking great. You know, it looks like the old Doom. It's fast.
I think that's from the E3
energetic,
shit.
and
I knew it was gonna be that way.
I was like, this game looks fucking cool, right? But it's $60,
Yeah.
and I'm like, there's no way this game is gonna take me longer than like a day and a half to beat, right? Like 2 days at the most, and then I'll probably not touch it for years, is what I'm thinking. So like, $60 for that for a game I'm gonna beat in a couple days feels a little ridiculous, you know. Especially when I didn't know if I was gonna love it, you know. I don't know if it's gonna be amazing. So I'm like, yeah, I don't know, man. It's a little too much. I really wanted to play it, but I just wanted to like try it, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, there's no way I can do that. Like, I don't want to have to go through the trouble of pirating it, but you know, it's on Steam and it's $60. It's too much. And then Victor, like, I'd gone to bed. I was sleeping through the day, as I do, and Victor and Trevor and Brandon come bursting into my room like right as I'm going to bed.
Oh!
And they're like, we need the PS4. I'm like, why? They're like, we rented Doom, you know. And I'm like, and I think about it, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Our plan was that we were gonna get drunk and do a live stream of Doom, but only if I didn't end up going to Hope's house. And then we started playing Doom, and we got a headache.
Right.
And then Trevor wasn't really into Doom. And then, like, you were also asleep, so we couldn't really do a stream.
Yeah.
And then we just stopped, and then I went to Hope's house.
Right. So they played like less than 2 hours of Doom.
Yeah.
I wake up, and this was a thing of beauty, Victor. I woke up at like 10:30 p.m., right?
Yes.
Weird fucking time to wake up. I go downstairs, and you're not there. No one's there. Your room's empty. The light's on. Doom is sitting in its red box case on top of the PS4. And I'm like, it's 10:30. If they're all gone, Victor's probably at Hope's house. Those guys probably went home. No one is going to be playing Doom but me. So I took the PS4 upstairs and I played Doom for 9 hours straight.
Jeez.
And it was awesome. That game
bet,
is
dude.
fucking rad. But it was a red box 24-hour game thing. So, like, you know, Victor takes it back the next day, gets Uncharted 4.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here, like, for the last few days, I've just been like, kind of still want to finish Doom. Like, I might have to go rent it myself or something because I was really into it, man.
I come back here.
I gotta say, it's the most fun first-person shooter game I've played since Halo 2.
Probably.
It is the most hype, exciting, fun, and like I really want to own it So, like, part of me is like, man, is it worth $60? Because, like, I kind of really want to own it because there's a lot...
Money?
Huh?
So you got money?
That's true, but, like, there's just a lot of, like, secrets in the game and, like, stuff to do. Like, there's lots of, if you play through the level and you kill every enemy, you get more points kind of thing, like, and then you can get more upgrades and all that. And,
upgrades!
It's a fun enough game that I could see doing that, but I don't see doing it, like, immediately, you know? Yeah. I don't know. It's really cool. I like it a lot.
Pretty rad.
It's, like... I was listening to Biggest Problem in the Universe while playing it, as I do with Dark Souls. In fact, that leads me to another interesting topic, but I want you to talk about the game you played, Uncharted 4.
It was fucking amazing. I loved it. Probably the most invested in a story of a video game I've been since I was a kid. Like, I really liked the story of this game, and the cutscenes, and the acting was fucking 10 out of 10. It was just wonderful all around. And then the gameplay was like it starts off very cutscene heavy, very walking heavy. You're like, here we go with this fucking, you know, they just did The Last of Us. You know what you're expecting. You're expecting it to be a movie game. Borderline Heavy Rain fucking game towards the beginning. And I was just like, I'm not gonna get upset. You know, I'm actually really liking where the story's going. I'm just gonna enjoy it. And then, like, you get through that and you start to get to the real game and you're like, oh, there's only gonna be so much of this. And then it goes on and on and on. Right. And there's just, like, badass. Every firefight is, like, a good firefight. I never felt like there was any moment of it that was, like, half-assed or wasted or, like, not as creative as the rest. Like, some of the other games, it would be, like, you get a couple amazing firefights and then some in-between things and a lot of forced firefights, whereas this one, like, you can get through almost the entire game until the end without, like, you can just stealth your way through it and never, like, kill anyone.
Right.
And it was, like, a really interesting ways to play it, and every bit of the game has, like, options for the platforming and, like, getting around, and you're like, I could play this game again and not touch a single one of the same stones, you know? Like, there's always an alternate option. So it's just like a blast. And you're like, well, it was totally worth waiting through 3 hours of fucking Heavy Rain to get to this amazing game. Right. And it was just super cool. It ends in a fucking sword fight, spoiler alert. Fucking awesome. Probably one of the most badass endings. Fucking the villain is cool. You have reason to care about all the characters. It gives so much, like, great context to the characters. And then in the end, it ends. The franchise ends. And it's one of those things where you're like, it really set in how long I've been playing Uncharted, and that the fact that I've played every single one of them when they came out.
Almost 10 years.
Yeah, almost 10 years, and I've always, like, I wasn't really hyped for Uncharted 4 because Uncharted 3 was kind of like the low point to me. And then
you loved Uncharted 3.
I loved it, but it, you know, it was just kind of like, it felt like it was getting into a formula of what Uncharted was. And then this one kind of perfected that, almost in the way that I think Dark Souls 3 perfects, like, the aesthetic of Dark Souls, where it's like, this is the best looking one, and this is the last one. You feel playing the game like they know this is the last Uncharted, and they want to get all their ideas out there, and it feels like they executed that perfectly, and I couldn't want anything more out of an Uncharted game. And, like, if I'd go back and play one, it would be that one, because it's the best one, you know? It ends, it ties up in a neat bow, you get nice conclusion, you feel the characters' arcs have ended and their lives go on, and you're like, this is awesome. Like, a franchise has ended. There's not gonna be any more, and it has a real ending, you know? It's pretty cool. I almost teared up, you know, when the credits rolled, and I was just like, that's it. That's the last Uncharted game, and now, you know, there's not gonna be another one, like every other fucking thing in the universe where there'll always be infinite amounts. I don't know, it's pretty cool. I'm excited to see what Naughty Dog will do now. Is it gonna be The Last of Us 2, or are they gonna do something new and exciting and different? Alright, I gotta focus on killing these dudes. There's a bunch of dudes.
Yeah, I'll take over.
It was pretty cool. I'm very glad I played it. Totally worth renting at fucking Redbox. Like, I only paid $3 for a $60 game that I got, you know, a $60 experience.
You probably played closer to $9 because you rented it out for 3 days.
I'm not sure if it charged me extra. But I'll check my bank account.
It was a 24-hour rental, and Victor kept it for 3 days because he.
But it was like I almost want to play it again, you know.
Right.
but then I'm not sure if I'd want to watch all the cutscenes again. I wouldn't want to play that game without watching it.
Is this the episode where we both realized that games are actually worth $60?
I don't know. I don't have $60, so
Right.
it's like that was why Redbox was great.
Yeah, and I gotta say, you know, I'm definitely one of those guys who I'm in the middle on the whole like cutscene driven thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, because I know
But then this is a game where it's like if you don't watch the story, don't play the game. Like it's one of those things where I was thinking of how I would argue this to you because you're very like listen to biggest problem in the universe over the game, and I'm like, this game I would not like every bit of sound in this game is perfect.
No, I
like,
would not listen to that over fucking Uncharted.
This game, you play the whole thing, you listen to it the whole time, you don't play your own music over it. Like it's well crafted to be like a perfect experience, and it's like it's like if you took the soundtrack out of a movie and played your own soundtrack. Like you wouldn't do that.
That's
you know?
the thing. Like with regards to those games, like I am totally on board with like ragging on that style of game because I find like the walking and everything boring, you know. But
if you're compelled by the story, you get over it.
Well, I think there's a lot of people who have the perspective that those are like in terms of being good games, that they are artistically like inferior to games like Dark Souls that are about like systems and that really marry their systems to their story and like make it all a cohesive whole. The Gesamtkunstwerk, as Mr. B-Tongue calls it. Watch his video on Dark Souls if you want to know what I mean. But it's just like basically a masterwork wherein every element of it complements every other element of it, right? And those more story-driven games often don't have that quality because they're trying to force unlike parts together. And like I've always said, my big criticism of whenever people like talk about The Last of Us and like how the story is so amazing.
But see, I think this game did a much better job than The Last of Us, because in The Last of Us that shit bothered me.
Right.
Where it's like I wasn't into it with that, but I didn't like that game's story as much. I didn't like that game's characters as much.
Specifically, what I'm talking about is when you walk into a room and see the chest-high walls.
Yes.
Like
that shit's funny.
That shit cracks me up so much because people talk so much about how it's this deep, immersive story in The Last of Us. But when you walk into a combat arena from a storyline part, and then you just see a bunch of chest-high walls, and you go, oh, I guess a fight's about to happen because this is clearly a video game. Then, like, you know, it's totally immersion-shattering. And, like, but here's the thing. Like, I'm willing to make a lot of concessions because the fact is, we can't get those stories otherwise.
Yes.
Like, Dark Souls has a story that's perfectly told in video games, and therefore it's a perfect video game. But like people say things like, "Oh, Last of Us should just be a movie," or "Uncharted should just be a movie," and I'm like, no, they wouldn't. Uncharted would not make a better movie than video game.
Yes.
You know?
See, shit like Heavy Rain is where it's like, you might as well have made a movie because it doesn't fucking matter. Like.
Right. Well, and the video game element is the worst part of Heavy Rain, where like the fact that you can control the character completely breaks the immersion of the story.
Yes.
You know? But like in Uncharted, it's flipping between bits that seem more movie and bits that seem more game, but like getting the full experience of Nathan going through the tombs and everything is a big part of it. And like I think that's become more true in Uncharted 4, where like the switching between, like when I was watching you play, switching between gameplay and story was like seamless. It was constantly happening. You'd solve one part of a puzzle, and then Nate and what's her name would have like a conversation about it, you know? And like the story was always happening, even when it was like a more obviously gamey bit.
Because they all talk the entire time, so you feel like you're always in the story.
And like parts of the story of Uncharted are just Drake fights 50 guys.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, like that's part of the Uncharted narrative, is that he fights 50 guys.
Which is funny, because at the end of the game, there's like the bad guys are talking, and you've killed every guy.
Right.
Like they run out of guys because between
hilarious.
you and the traps in this pirate's fortress, they ran out of dudes, and then there's no like final battle after that because you killed everyone. They ran out of dudes.
But like that's the thing. Like the reason The reason that video game movies don't work is because a big part of every video game story is, and then I fought everybody.
Yeah. You don't skip anything.
Right.
You do every part of the journey.
And in a movie, that would be the most boring part, is the part where it's just a big fucking fight scene where Nathan Drake kills 50 people. That would be boring. But in a video game, that's the fun part. That's the most fun, you know?
And you don't skip any single... You arrive at the location, and you're with Nathan Drake from the beginning to the end.
Fucking insane. What is happening here?
It's just clipping into these walls.
Oh god, it looks
like you
off.
never break your time with him in this journey.
Right. So yeah, I think there's something to be said.
Yeah. I feel like I had something to say, but then you rant on and you don't let me fucking get to my point. Now I don't remember what I was gonna say.
When did I rant on? You were just ranting.
Because earlier you were cutting me off, and I was trying to cut you off so I could get something in, and I don't remember what it was.
Yeah, I was trying to prevent you from cutting me off because I was still making my point.
But your points always evolve into new points, and then I can't get back to what the old point was.
What? You were interrupting what I was in the middle of, like, making my grand thesis there, and then you started cutting me off. So I was gonna no, hold on.
Anyways, I was gonna say something about The Last of Us, where it's like, you know, the immersion breaking stuff really bothered me in that because I didn't care about the story.
Right.
And then, like, in Uncharted, not only do they execute it a lot better, but it's like I like the story more, you know, personally, and then it's also more fun, like it doesn't take itself as seriously, it's not as grim, so it all that shit kind of plays into it a little bit better. But it still has those problems of, like, you're stealthing around and the dude with you is just kind of running in front of the enemies, and you're just like, why don't they see him?
Retarded.
There's still some goofy shit like that, but it doesn't break you. You're just kind of like, that's funny. Right. Like, that's dumb.
Yeah. It was a lot, like, in The Last of Us, it would be, like, really egregious, where they're like, the clickers, if they hear you, they'll come after you. And then
my God.
your assistant will just be literally running around in front of them. Like, it affects nothing.
Which
You're
is
like,
fucking
this
hilarious.
is a video game, you know? But, yeah, like, oh, shit. Lost my train of thought.
Yeah.
I think I think there's some defense to be had for that style of game.
Yeah. And it's another thing when I was playing it was...
Oh, never mind. I remember what
I'm sitting there and I'm like, I am so glad that this game can exist. And, like, it's the biggest, baddest fucking title you can get, you know? It's got the biggest budget, the biggest shit's going into it, and it's this huge blockbuster movie, and it's
huge.
Like, you know, some part of that may seem disingenuous, but it's like, this is it. Like, and especially with Naughty Dog, the studio, and they put Crash Bandicoot 1 in there, and you play it twice throughout the game. Because you play it at the beginning, and then you play it again at the end. And I thought it was a perfect way to bookmark this game, or bookend this game, because you're looking at their first game, where they started. You know, this is before you've gotten to the gameplay of this game. Then you play this whole game. It's this huge, fucking epic spectacle. Insane fucking, you know, testament to what games can be now. And then you play Crash Bandicoot again and you go, holy shit, look how far we've come. Right. Like, this is fucking insane.
Yeah.
That game is so basic. And it's like, this is what they couldn't do at that time. And they've got to be, the guys making Uncharted have got to be marveling in what they're able to do. And so happy with what they're able to do. And amazed by how far they've come, you know?
You know, I want to do, on the point you made before, I have a video that's probably one of my most important videos I ever made, even though it's old and doesn't get talked about that much. But it's called Art is All About Pressing Your Buttons. I think we've probably brought it up on this show before, but, like, I think that, and it's kind of ties into what I was saying about Dark Souls 2 and Dark Souls 3 earlier, where, like, because I enjoy the baseline experience of Dark Souls, all the little things don't bother me because I love the game, and, like, my opinion is so overwhelmingly positive that in my mind it's the most perfect a game can be, because it having flaws doesn't detract from the fact that it does everything baseline so much better than every other video game in existence. You know, and, like, you know, like you were saying with The Last of Us, like, each problem is enhanced by you not enjoying the baseline experience of the game. By going, like, as soon as you I always call it the suspension of disbelief. As soon as it breaks your suspension of disbelief, you're done. There's no recovering from that because every little thing now looks stupid.
As soon as you're annoyed.
Right. As soon as you're annoyed, then it's like, all right, you know. So like with Dark Souls 2, that's why I said like really I only have 2 complaints. I hate the movement and I hate the look of the game, you know. And because of that, every little thing bothers me because there's no thing keeping me wanting to like it, you know. There's no reason that I would ever want to enjoy the good things about it when I don't enjoy the baseline experience. So yeah. I guess I'll save the other topic I had in mind for the next episode, branching out from Doom.